Reporter Ziniko Mhlaba attending the inquiry joins me now. Ziniko, good afternoon to you. I mean, in a way, maybe we lose a bit of it through the translation, but the emotion of this, the trauma of this, for people who have to relive it and live with it on a daily basis, must just be awful.
It's been awful, Stephen, even to us as journalists who have to sit there and listen to these stories of people who are saying that, I was sleeping, I lost my child, I lost my family. The lady who just played right now on that particular incident was a lady who was working at some of the retail shops. And obviously, she struggled during COVID with finances. Obviously, she had to move to that illegal building, which was hijacked. When she got there, she found that there's more space. Let me bring in my uncle and her wife and their little child. And I also, decided to bring in my friend. Those people, were affected greatly by the fire. Actually, the friend was one of the very first bodies to be retrieved out of that building. And, she said she couldn't stand seeing her friend being stretched out, in such a manner, and also saying that she felt so guilty. She didn't know what she was going to say to her family. But also the other tragic issue that we've been hearing so far, which is trying to, in one way or the other, is trying to connect the dots. You remember that there was Mr. Mhlaba who had said that, I own up to this disaster. I set this person alight. And obviously the fire broke out. Listening to the events or the testimonies today, 2 people have confirmed that they heard a man crying just 10 minutes before the actual fire, the fire broke out. And one witness said that it was just about 5 minutes. I heard this man crying greatly. And obviously he went quiet for some time, and 5 minutes later, the fire started. There was a second witness who testified, sharing the same, event as, from her own experience. So it seems as if the pattern of burning people and setting them alight inside that building was a norm. Because we also hear that the person who's currently being arrested as well, but obviously I was told this, off record, says that the person who might be behind the drug dealings within that property has been arrested and is one of the person who was ordering people to be killed and burnt down. So it's been a very, very shocking experience, but also for the victims themselves, having to retell the story, have to relive those moments, because the commissioners and the evidence leaders and the lawyers asked them very detailed in terms of what happened at what point. Then when the fire started, where were you? What was your first move? How did you get out? And post that, how have you been doing this? So all those, events come back into their psychological, mind. But also, what we also heard was that they have not been given any psychological help to help them go through these processes.
It's just so awful, and yet there must also be stories of loss, there's stories of huge trauma, there's stories, I imagine, of some people helping others to escape, to sort of rescue each other. It's a terrible story of South African life in the inner city.
That's exactly the same situation, because most of those people saying that I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew that the building was hijacked, but I just couldn't afford rent. So if I had an option, and if an option, presented itself for me to just pay about 1,500 rands, I took that. But initially, the building was decent, it was safe, there weren't many people there weren't many criminals. But some of them are alleging that the criminal elements started popping up as soon as that place, had some shacks inside it, which were erected by some of the former residents of Usindiso building themselves. Remember earlier on, or much before it was turned into what it has become, it was a shelter. So the women who were initially staying there, under the shelter umbrella, they decided to move out when they saw that many people are coming in. But what they did, they sold their rooms and rented them out. That's when things became chaotic, and that's what the problem is. And people just didn't have a choice. They decided to remain there and rent out spaces, or even buy some of these rooms for about 2,000 rands.
Sure. Ziniko Mhlaba, thank you very much indeed. Very traumatic story.